What's up, fam? This is the day the Lord has made, and we're here to rejoice and be glad in it. I want to welcome you to Hope TV. It's my prayer that you guys are being safe, that you're wearing a mask, keeping your hands washed, that you're exercising proper social distancing. It's important that we walk by faith, but also use wisdom in this time. And so I hope that you're blessed, hope you're prospering. I hope all is well with you and yours. Thank you for tuning in to the Hope TV. I'm so glad that you tuned in to get a daily dose of hope. As you know, we're hope dealers here at Hope TV, and our ultimate aim is to bring content that's going to be inspiring and empowering. And so we try to bring content that has a foundation of faith and family and finances, fellowships, fitness, and even interject some fun along the way. So I hope you've been inspired. I hope you've really been encouraged as we try to bring you programming that's holistic, that's spiritual, that deals with us from as a physical perspective, and also the emotional, mental perspective. So I hope you guys are blessed. You've tuned in today actually to one-on-one, and I'm excited that you're part of our one-on-one conversation today and broadcast. It means the world to me. And if you're watching, drop me a line. Let me know the city, state, and country from whence you're viewing. Some of you know this. We started this platform back in the month of March, although I've been doing media for a very long time. Started working the cameras as a 9-year-old boy in Macon, Georgia, in church, and I've been doing it professionally for 5 years. Signed with Warner Brothers 5 years ago to produce content. So all I've been doing a long time. I never had any idea that this platform would do what it has done. We started it in the month of March just as a way of staying in contact with the members of our church in Atlanta. And unbeknownst to us, God had greater plans. And in just 3 months, we've had upwards of 25 million views of our content through Hope TV. And that's all because of the grace of God and wonderful people like you. So thank you. I want to thank you for your support, your words, your partnerships. You've just been amazing. And I'm grateful to each of you for all you have done. It means the world to me. Let me take this moment. I need to shout out one of our sponsors who's been such a blessing to us. I want to thank God for this revolutionary new app and website called Faith Social, faithsocial.com. What an amazing group, what an amazing app. Faith Social is a platform that allows believers to connect for prayer, for Bible study, for worship, just for journaling, and just for virtual fellowship. It means the world to us. It's a first of its kind platform, and Christians from everywhere can be enriched through resources and personalized content. And so I want to thank them for their sponsorship. They're one of our title sponsors here of Hope TV. It's an amazing digital experience. And I want to encourage you to go ahead. You can go and get it from Google Play and Apple Store. Shout out to my brother and fraternity brother, AJ Calloway, in the Faith Social family. So I want you to get it. Please download the app. It costs you nothing. You can go to faithsocial.com and allow your life to be enriched and inspired in some incredible ways through faithsocial.com. So if you go ahead, sign up now, faithsocial.com, and thank me later. It's such a powerful vehicle and tool for prayer, Bible study, worship, engagement, and interaction. And certainly in these times, we need all the hope that we can get. So shout out to our sponsor of one-on-one, faithsocial.com. So go ahead, please download that app right now. It costs you nothing, and you're going to thank me later. Positive content there on Faith Social. And if you're watching through a platform now, whether it be Apple TV, Roku TV, Twitch, Amazon, Periscope, Facebook, YouTube, the House of Hope, ATL.com website, the edewithsmith.org website. If you're watching through the House of Hope Atlanta app, however you're viewing, let me thank you for your viewership. You are an incredible blessing to us. And if you're watching through a medium that will allow you to either subscribe, to comment, to like, or to share, why don't you take this moment right now and subscribe, comment, like, or share. You can send this to about 5 other people. Today is going to be an amazing time of conversation. So I want you to please do that now. You can subscribe to the YouTube channels of the House of Hope Atlanta and Dr. E. Dewey Smith. I also want to congratulate the church the YouTube channel, the media team. They have now recently gone over 50,000 subscribers on YouTube. God bless you. Thank you, those of you who've been following the church on YouTube, 50,000 subscribers. God bless you. Those who are following on Facebook, and those who are following on Instagram and Twitter, please follow right now. Also, please follow the Hope TV if you've not yet done that on all things social media. You can follow Hope TV. They just eclipsed 2,000 people on Instagram in just a few weeks. We're grateful for that. So the Hope TV, you can follow on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram. And of course, yours truly, you can follow me on all things social media. Facebook page, official page of Pastor E. Dewey Smith. You can follow there, YouTube, Dr. E. Dewey Smith, and of course, Instagram and Twitter at E. Dewey Smith. So please follow there, and share this link with about 5 other people, especially those of you in Middle Georgia, those of you in the 478, those you know who you are. If you're in Monroe County, if you're in Bibb County, Peach County, Jones County, Twiggs County, Houston County, I need all of my MacTown family, the 478. I need y'all to share this link right now with about 5 other people. It's serious business today. This broadcast is serious business. We got a lot to discuss, and we got a lot at stake. So I need 478 to show up. I need y'all to show up right now. Share this link. Share this link. Y'all know I love my hometown. My hometown. We got to love each other. We got to do to stand up. Share this link right now all over Middle Georgia. It's very, very important. We got a serious conversation today. And that's very, very, very important. So if you're in Middle Georgia, share this link right now. I said share the link right now. I don't care if you're eating at New Ways or Salim's Fish. Stop this, take this moment and share this link. It's important that you get the word out about one-on-one. Have a guest on today that I'm honored to have here with us. And we're going to be leading him in conversation and allow him to share with us. Very, very important, because some things are coming up in Macon, the future of Macon, in many ways can be impacted positively or negatively based upon what happens in the next several weeks. And so that's why this conversation today, this broadcast, is preeminently important. I'm so happy to have with us today on One-on-One a native of Macon, Georgia, who's done some incredible things in terms of business, industry, and is now seeking is now candidate for mayor of the city of Macon. And it's very, very important that we have this conversation. He's in a runoff election and has done a lot of incredible things in his career. I want to welcome to our platform, to Hope TV, to One-on-One, Mr. Clifford Whitby. Hello, sir. How are you doing today?
Good afternoon. How are you? And I'm very pleased to be here today.
Well, it's a joy and an honor to have you here. I've heard so much about you. Never had the opportunity to really meet and sit down and talk with you personally, but your reputation precedes you. A lot of people who I trust and respect dearly have just been given a lot of raving commendations about you and your character and who you are. Shout out to my brother I.E. Mack, Bryant Rains, and John Harry, and so many others who esteem you in high regard. So I'm happy that you're here with us, and I appreciate you. So why don't you just tell us about yourself? I know you're from Macon. I want to hear about your journey, where you're from, where you went to school, everything you've done in your career, so the people, those who don't know you, who may be watching, can be more familiar with you as well.
Well, again, I can't tell you how much we appreciate having the opportunity to be here with you today. Um, as you said, like yourself, I'm a native son of Macon, Bibb County. Love my hometown. Shout out to everybody out there. And he's right, 478. Let's step up, guys. Let's do this here for our native son. We're so proud of you, man. We're so proud of what you're accomplishing and the light you're bringing to everybody that you touch across this country. Really, you don't get those numbers where you're talking about, not being global. You rolling, and that's a good thing. So proud of you, man. Um,
Praise.
but but I grew up here, right here in Macon, Georgia. Father was a barber downtown Macon, 50 plus years. I started cutting hair in the terminal station. I don't quite remember the terminal station, but I remember Fifth Street and Popular and that area growing up in downtown Macon. And like you, Unionville, Tyndall Heights, East Macon, Bellevue, those are the stomping grounds of where we grew up. Uh, I think I have one thing on you that probably a little bit to my advantage. I am an alum of the Southwest High School, Macon, and I think you don't
There
have
you
that
go.
privilege. So, a Southwest graduate right here in the Mac town, and could not be more proud of that. Um, but Pastor, I am running for the highest elected office in this community. As you know, as proud as we are of our city, of our hometown, we have issues. We have issues that we must confront. Um, you are aware of the protests that is taking place all over this country and really all over the world, centered around, believe it or not, just fairness. And Pastor Smith, my entire platform started October the 4th, 2019. Equity, balance, fair play, and opportunity. And if you can really just close your eyes when you look at the protests taking place in the great city of Atlanta, it's centered around people just having the desire to be treated fairly. And so, if you don't mind, I'll just get into some of that because right here in Macon, our community has been listed multiple times as one of the poorest in the nation. Macon is a community that is, by all accounts now, predominantly African American. And if you look at the poverty and the poverty level in every sector, African Americans rank at the top of all of those disparities, whether it's economic, criminal justice, just fairness in the courts, healthcare disparities, educational disparities. You run the gamut, and African Americans rank at the top. What I've done in our community is roll up my sleeves and get involved and engage. In 2007, then Mayor C. Jack Ellis appointed me to the lead economic development arm, the Macon-Bibb County Industrial Authority. Now, if you can remember, we was just on the cusp of the greatest recession in the generation, but something happened. 2009 ushered in hope, play on words, hope, with a president that was willing to be fair and equitable and bring in change. Yes, we can. It's what I took over the industrial authority with. In a matter of 2 terms, we had transitioned the lead economic development arm into the greatest juggernaut in the history of Macon-Bibb County. During the worst economic crisis, downturn of a generation, it took some very tough decisions and change. Change is not easy. People shy away from change, but change is necessary. We made the decision as a board to make certain changes under my leadership. What is the result? The greatest recruitment, certainly in the history of the Industrial Authority, if not Macon. not since the location of Brown and Williamson in the 70s, Dewey, have you seen the type of success we had? Tractor Supply, Kumo Tire, Irving Tissue, Amazon, First Quality Diaper Plant. I can go on and on and on with the industry that we attracted under the leadership that I brought to the Industrial Authority, which translated into livable wage jobs for our residents and our citizens. So it is sort of ironic on the heels of a global pandemic that we're at this crucial point yet again. And I've been led to serve, to seek the office, the highest elected office in this community, the mayor of the newly consolidated government. Uh, uh, I'm honored. My team and I are honored to have the opportunity to have open, frank dialogue about what is at the core of these disparities. And I cannot play games when I discuss this. At the core of these disparities is the disease of racism, not just in Macon, not just in Bibb County, but the disease of racism across this country is sewn into the very fiber. And what my platform is centered around, just as we did under my leadership at the Industrial Authority, we will focus fairly on South Macon, West Macon, East Macon, and yes, North Macon as well, because we're in this city together and we all have to benefit from the resources together. So that's just the start. I look forward to how you lead us through these discussions. But I must tell you, we have a serious election coming up, and it will determine the next 2 decades for this community.
You know what is amazing when you think about the things that you've done that have been so historic. Uh, I guess the question, because I know everything rises and falls on leadership, but do you also envision bringing that same type of leadership to other areas of Macon, Georgia? What do you bring? What will the citizens of Macon and Bibb County get when they get Clifford Whitby as mayor of the city? What do you bring with you? I know you've talked about some things you've done from '07 to now, but just who are you and what will you bring to the table as our leader?
Fairness, balance. See, what a lot of people truly not ready to accept, Pastor Smith, is when we look at the root cause of the issues that plague this country, but most definitely my hometown, your hometown. You are a inspiration. You. I was present when you came to do the service for one of our great citizens here that just transitioned, Mr. Bentley. When people see you, they see when young African American young boys see you, they see something they can emulate. They see something they can inspire to be. They see what's possible. Unfortunately, we don't have enough of that. What I hope people see when they see me is an independent individual that we need to make many, many, many more Clifford Whitby's and Dewey Smiths, and successful African Americans. Who would have a problem with the success of Dewey Smith? Who would not want the benefit of what that image would mean as you walk through these elementary schools and let them see somebody that look like them and somebody who's willing to fight See, I followed you ever since you left Elm Street and went over on Newburgh. I followed, I see the vision. I
Wow.
understand the vision. I started from nothing. Dewey, I couldn't get a loan to buy a hammer, much less loan a tractor.
My goodness.
But that same tenacity that allowed you to evolve, that same work ethic that allowed you to evolve, God blessed me as well to be able to raise 6 daughters that I'm so proud of, right here in Macon. So what people get, what our community get, is somebody who truly care and will go to sleep thinking about how do we create successful entrepreneurs, successful men and women. What is it going to take to support these emerging markets? Because Pastor Smith, what people, it's difficult for people to grasp is they talking about the world of tomorrow as though it's not here. It's here. You know, I mentioned Irving Tissue. Irving Tissue is a $750 million first phase project. $750 million. 20 years ago, it would take 5,000 people to run that plant. Today, Pastor Smith, 400.
Wow.
You do the math. Let's just think about that. If I continue that success at the Industrial Authority, we still would never catch up. What we have to do is support these emerging markets and these young entrepreneurs to create the making of the future. What I have done and what I will continue to do is to support the dreams and the imagination. I think it was Einstein who said, there's nothing more important than imagination. We have got to dream again. See, my opponent, unfortunately, is a person that will manage taxes, the existing pie. I've proven I grow the pie. I'm not redividing the pie. On day one, we will come with innovative strategies like supporting young entrepreneurs. One of the things I emulated from Atlanta is the Atlanta Tech Village. Great facility. All they do is support entrepreneurs and people who are dreaming for that next big thing. How do we create the next E. Dewey Smith? How do we reinvent ourselves? Because yesterday is in the rearview mirror, and we have to turn to the future. We have to stop dividing ourselves, North Macon versus East Macon. Now, the question is, yes, I know exactly what I said earlier. What plagues Macon, Bibb County is what plagued this country. The entrenched disease of racism. That's just the truth. And when we accept that and begin to have honest dialogue, and see, the disease of racism don't just impact Caucasians. It's embedded in us too. And we must confront that. Macon Bibb County is 176 years old. We've had 176 years of white mayors to represent this community. For one brief period of 8 years, somebody that looked like us served as the top elected official. Now, if you don't think that the white community voting in their constant, consistent blocks, despite party, It's not Democrat, Republican here. It's black and white. That's the truth. You need just pull the numbers. But that type of thinking have us where we are, dude. And now it's time for a change. And if we're not ready to change, that's on us. But you have two candidates here. One that has demonstrated the ability to bring this community through an economic crisis. And if we don't know, this pandemic has already rendered us. I mean, we're already talking about furloughs and court cuts that is beyond unprecedented. It's going to increase. And I do not desire this to be a race that come down, right down race lines. But we have to pull this community together where we address the elephant in the room. Honestly,
You know, when I think about something you just said earlier about leadership that maintains the status quo versus leadership that creates the pot, you know, it takes me back to the early 90s prior to the Olympics coming to Atlanta in 96. And I remember when so many other cities, you know, were getting, you know, resources to build stadiums or to host venues. And yet our leadership in Macon was so divisive and so fragmented that, I mean, places like Milledgeville and Savannah and Columbus and Athens and Augusta and so many other received resources to host venues, and we got nothing. And so much was leaving Macon, whether it was, you know, Continental Cans, whether it was YKK, whether it was Brown and Williamson, and there was a mass exodus. And when I left in 2004, January 2004, because God moved me to Atlanta, not because I wanted to leave. I love Macon. Everybody knows that I never thought I would leave Macon, but I had another assignment. But I have not seen in my adult life um, the type of industries and the type of creation and the type of jobs that have been created over the past 13 years at one specific in my lifetime. And that's somebody who loves the city of Macon. So something has been different. Something is different. And I don't think that's no accident. I think it's the sign of good leadership. And my question has been, I guess the question I want to ask in that regard is, seeing how sometimes Macon can be divided amongst racial lines, and not just that, but sometimes it's hard even for African Americans to get on one accord, whether it was consolidation, no matter what it is. How have you managed? How did you manage to be so successful in turning things around and bringing industries to make it in such a downward economy? How were you able to bring people together to galvanize them to lead us forward over the past during that time period? How did you do that?
that's a really good question. And one of the things that most people fail to recognize is, regardless of what initiative or what new strategies that we attempted to implement, it started with one thing. I remember reading where Maynard Jackson, where Peachtree Street meet Sweet Auburn, had a quote in that book: "If it's good for business, it's good for Atlanta." I took that. I took that belief into the chairmanship at the Industrial Authority. If it's good for business, it's good for Macon. And we worked across party lines, we worked across racial lines. One of the things I'm most proud of my tenureship at the Industrial Authority, no matter what it was, the county commission, unanimous votes and approval for everything. that I attempted to do. City council, the school board, and even the newly established consolidated government, because we had dialogue about the strategy and what made it beneficial to make them big at the time. And we was all in agreement. That's how you got. That's how Kumo Tiger is here. Those negotiations with the nation of Korea, exactly who we was negotiating with, was some very intense, and it required all hands on deck. And I'm most proud of my work across the racial and the party lines to get those projects done. But it's going to take that and the ability, the innovative strategies, and the love for all people to really be able. Some people really mean well, but in a time like this, are we willing to trust somebody who is, even if they mean well, versus somebody who have demonstrated the capacity and the ability to execute and implement in a critical time? We are at a serious crossroads here in Macon, Bibb County. And it's going to take a Herculean effort. Make no mistake, the next mayor will be walking into a really, really challenging time. And I think, and I know, I'm well suited, have been tested. I understand the political, the negative side. I've had to fight for my honor and my name. And I was willing to put it all on the line for what was right. And I put it all on the line. And God allowed me to prevail, and God brought me through the challenging times. I'm tested and ready to go.
Wow. You talked about some of those challenges and getting through those challenges, which I think, you know, it builds and develops character. What are some of the most pressing issues? You talked about day one, what you would do, and if it's good for industry, it's good for Macon. What will be some of the initial things or the most grave things that you think need to happen immediately once, when and if you're elected? What will be your initial focus points in terms of turning things around in the city of Macon?
The first thing we've got to do is we got to support our local businesses. We've got to come up with a way to ensure that our local business can survive, our local businesses can survive these challenging times. There are multiple strategies that we can look at to do just that, but they have to be done in a bipartisan manner. It have to be done with everybody being on board with why it is to support our local businesses. But the other part is we have an almost an untapped market of um, women-owned businesses and the gifts and the talents that rest here with our women population here in Macon Bibb County. I want to assemble a committee and a strategy to support. When we talk about equity, balance, and fair play, this is exactly what we're talking about. So just imagine this. When I took over the industrial authority, they could not demonstrate not a single vendor that they had done business with. Now, this is the lead economic development arm. They couldn't identify a single vendor that was a minority, a woman-owned business. Not one. Not one.
Wow.
We we completely changed that in a short period of time to where we did over $7 million. And if you go to the Small Business Affairs Office, we can demonstrate $32 million through the Office of Small Business Affairs Department and the Industrial Authority. We have to support our community. We know that we have challenges with education. We know that. But we have some of the finest, most dedicated teachers and administrators that exist anywhere. You're a product of that. I'm a product of that. We need to support our teachers and administrators more than they're being supported now. How do you know that, Clifford? How do you know? It's almost, you think about it. Our teachers who's trying to teach a child that slept in a car all night long, or under a bridge, or that's coming to school hungry. To me, our educators should be the highest paid professionals in this city. They should be. The job that they do, and just think about it, they're teaching our future. They're nurturing those who are going to assume these roles that we're in. We have to be proactive. We got to find ways to address these issues. Just sweeping them under the carpet, hiding them away in the corner, have us where we are. A Whitby administration will be aggressive and proactive in finding the ways to face the challenges that we face as a community. This is not playing the blame game. The pandemic is an invisible, killing black and white. It's disproportionately impacting people of color. But it's don't discriminate. It's killing. And we have to address those disparities that's killing us economically, from an educational standpoint, across the board. And we must recognize, why do you think there's a cry all over this land for criminal justice reform? This is not just pointing the finger. See, I don't just point the finger at police brutality. The courts are just as guilty. The judges are just as guilty. The prosecutors are just as guilty. Why are the prisons filled with people of color? Why is Roger Stone at home and Bill Cosby in jail? Why is Paul Manafort, Michael Flynn? The disparities are rampant. And see, people don't want to talk about this, dude. But these are the conversations that we have to have. And when I talk about the disease of racism, it has so infected us. We are a tool just as much. 176 years of white leadership. We don't have a single majority white precinct district that's represented by a minority. Not one. Racism to the core.
Wow. You said a whole lot to community leaders, education, the industries, gender justice, gender equality. You mentioned that law enforcement, criminal justice system, and there's a whole cadre of leaders who really have endorsed you. And I was surprised to see the numbers of people who come together, because sometimes it's hard, particularly. I've been in clergy all my life, so when I see clergy persons come together, particularly African American, that's very refreshing and different. And as a matter of fact, I think we have a commercial today I want to go to right quick, a commercial that your team put together just to give a list of those persons who have endorsed you. And I want to go to that, show the audience right quick, just so the audience, those who are viewing, can get a chance to see the people who believe in you, your integrity, your character, and your leadership, and who've thrown their name and their support behind you. So we're gonna go to that right quick, and we'll come back after we see this commercial.
Paid for by the committee to elect Clifford Whitby for mayor.
I mean, I saw hospital leaders, I saw former district attorney, I saw preachers, I saw a host of community leaders. How does that make you feel to watch that?
Um, um, you know, Pastor Smith, the words are very difficult to describe what I feel when I watch that and some of the other broadcasts and productions that have come from this. Um, but coming from the mountain that my journey uh, uh, took me to, and the accusations and the um, prosecution for just standing and trying to address the issues that we've been talking about all this time. And to see, as you said, former prosecutors and DAs and other leaders, and of course, the clergy who has been, you don't appreciate what you guys do until you have nowhere else to turn. And so I can say to you without a doubt, only when you've said where I've said in my family's said, to have God intervene directly and vindicate you and snatch you off that mountain as quick as they put you on it, because he said so. And to know that no weapon, I can't describe it. I can't describe it.
Wow. So you're in a runoff election, and I think early voting starts. Can you talk about the process? What's happening? When can people, those who want to vote early, just tell us about that process and when the official election is going to be held.
So early voting actually starts, thank you, on Monday, July 20th. Um, we'll have early voting Monday through Fridays for 3 weeks, and election day is August the 11th. We are in the process trying to encourage our board of election and our consolidated government to consider providing absentee ballots for every registered voter. We think this election is just that important. And to think we're in the midst of a pandemic, our campaign and my belief is everybody should have a right to vote safely and to have an absentee ballot application mailed to them, if not the absentee ballot period itself. But nevertheless, we understand the politics that exists, and it is politics. There's a lot of people who talk about a person right to vote, but there are very deliberate gerrymandering, voter suppression going on right now, and we have to confront that as well. You have people that actively try to suppress voter turnout, and we have to address it. So these are the things that we're dealing with here. We know my mother is 88 years old, And I'm concerned. And I know people are concerned about their loved ones. That's the type of fight that I'm willing to fight on the behalf of those. We have a commercial where we talk about the powerless and the cries of the powerless being heard by the powerful. We've got to raise our voice. If we want change, we have to be willing to fight for change. If we want the same old, if we want a continuation of the 176 years, if you go to our city hall in one room, in one conference room, they have 3 or 4 rows of the past mayors in the history of Macon. A long wall lined up. You've seen it. Consecutive mayors. No racial diversity. None. We have to want change. And we have to quit allowing these same subtle but very effective methods and models and trickery. I sit here as a person capable and ready to lead on day one, who has demonstrated the ability to serve this community. As I served as the chairman of the Industrial Authority with the string of successes that we had, the unprecedented success, as I met with the CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, I represented this community. I'm prepared to represent this community on the behalf of everybody, whether it's Kings Park, whether it's Pleasant Hill, whether it's Hartley Bridge Road or Bass Road. We're one community, and we've got to move in a way that includes everybody. And every 4 years, you hear these same politicians say the same thing, and we constantly rank, if not at the top, in the top 5 of cities in the greatest poverty in this country. We have we have the opportunity to change that this coming Monday, July 20th, and on August 11th, we can change this city for the better.
Well, sir, I want to thank you for your time. Wish you Godspeed. Thank you for the leadership that you have provided, particularly to the Industrial Authority, for making yourself available. I know about the ugliness of attacks and some of the things that you've gone through and some of the stories. And thank God for the vindication that only God can give. And I wish you Godspeed. Those of you who are in Middle Georgia, if you want to support Mr. Whitby financially and get more information about his campaign, his platform, the website is on the screen, www.cliffwhitby.com. And I want you to reach out to him, find ways you can support to be engaged civically. Of course, those who want to vote early voting starts this coming Monday, July 20th. It's going to be for 3 weeks, as he said. And then August the 11th will be the runoff election. So make sure your vote counts. While we talk about national elections and federal elections, those things are important. But local elections are the things that affect us the most. Make sure you go out and that your voice is counted at the polls. Too many have suffered and bled and died. So you have a right to exercise the right to vote. So I appreciate you. Clifford Whitby, thank you, sir, for being a part of the Hope TV family today. And I hope to have you come back and share with us again. And I appreciate you. Thanks for sharing. And we wish you Godspeed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Family, you've been watching Hope TV, the one-on-one interview with mayoral candidate Macon, Bibb County, Georgia, Clifford Whitby. You've heard his platform and many things he has to share. Hope you've been inspired and encouraged. And whether you're seeking political office or not, his story is one of resilience and perseverance. His story should encourage all of us that it does not matter where you're from or what you didn't have. Where you're going is most important. So thank you for tuning in to Hope TV today, this one-on-one interview, one-on-one broadcast. I hope you've been inspired. And always remember this, if you'll be good to God, God will be good to you. Till next time, peace. Take care.